Joining me now is Dr. David Prentice, Vice President and Research Director for the Charlotte Lozier Institute, and Dr. Tara Sander-Lee, an Associate Scholar with that same institute. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Dr. Sander-Lee, let's start with you. You encourage the use of life-affirming alternatives to this fetal tissue research, like adult stem cells or skin cells for research. If this produces better results, why isn't the scientific community embracing it more?
I think the reason is because it's so entrenched in how they've been doing science for so long, and currently there is no law that says that they can't. And so I think it's that's why it's important for HHS and other authorities to actually really reconsider how mechanisms, things that they can do to actually redirect some of these funds so that this research can discontinue and we can invest in actual science that is working better and is ethical.
Let's read something by Cardinal Timothy Michael Dolan, Archbishop of New York, and then chairman of U.S. Catholic Bishops' Pro-Life Committee, said in September, quote, "Under a pro-life administration, there is simply no room for callously using aborted children to further a research goal. This must stop immediately. Our government should only use taxpayer dollars for ethical research." Dr. Prentice, the processing, though, of these fetal baby parts, the tissue, makes a lot of money.
Unfortunately, it does. And actually, that's not supposed to happen according to federal statute. They're not supposed to be making a profit, yet we've seen evidence, as was referred to earlier, and referred to the Department of Justice, that some of these companies, as well as Planned Parenthood, are making not just tens, but hundreds and thousands of dollars off of the processing of baby brains, hearts, livers, and the trafficking of those organisms.
It's a hard topic to talk about, and my heart goes out to the two of you who do this for a living every single day. Dr. Sander-Lee is a scientist with almost 20 years experience in academic and clinical medicine. I have to ask you, as you're teaching the next generation of scientists, what do you say to them to balance, to get them to learn how to balance good science, but with sound ethical judgment?
I think the important thing is that just because you can do it doesn't mean that you should, and you have to carefully examine each experiment that you're doing, and we cannot exploit one group of human beings for the benefit of another. Every human being has a right to life, and we need to protect that life, not at the expense of future treatments that are going to be tainted and are going to really put people in some very tough decisions.
Speaking of tainted in the future generations, if we could, I'd like to talk, Dr. Prentice, about the ethical dilemma, not just with fetal tissue research, but on the ethical implications of gene editing, as we saw Jason in the piece earlier say that this researcher said that gene editing allegedly did take place. And it seems to be an example of just what you said. Just because it can be done, it shouldn't be, or it doesn't mean it should be. So what does this mean? Is it going to open the floodgates to designer babies?
Well, that's certainly the worry. And you've used the right term. This is a designer baby, not just editing the embryo, but allowing that embryo, then manufacturing that embryo to be born with certain chosen traits manufactured through genetic engineering. And it's going to affect not just this individual, but their progeny as well.
The grandchildren, the children.
Exactly.
It gives me shivers to think that this one man in China had the ability to take a knife to that DNA and say, nah, I'm going to play God. I don't think that should be in there. Right. Anyway, great discussion. Thank you so much, both of you, Dr. Prentice as well as Dr. Tara Sander-Lee of the Charlotte Lozier Institute. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.